Hello, welcome back to the channel. I have had a lot of new subscribers over the last couple of days. I hit 500, which is absolutely insane considering how recently I hit 300, and a lot of that is down to Ben Chaish for sharing my channel, which I hugely appreciate. So thank you to all of the new subscribers, whether you came through him or through something else. I appreciate it so much. It gave me the motivation to go out and shoot on this snowy day because I wanted to create new content for you. So again, I appreciate it huge amounts. You'll never know how much. That sounds a bit intense, but I think you get the idea. So I fire off this shot. I like the fact that I was able to pull a lot of reds from the buildings and the brickwork, but I'm just warming up here like always. I noticed that my shutter sound is on, so I quickly turn that off because when I'm out capturing these videos, I like to be in stealth mode. Sneaky stealth mode. So welcome to another classic Darren Corbett panning shot, but this time, snow edition. And I'm changing my shutter speed, my ISO, and my f-stop. So I take these two photos. I realise very quickly I'm not on a high drive mode, so I go to the low speed one. I learned from the last video where I was on the high one, and to be honest, I'm just making it easier for me in the editing process. And low speed is still very fast. So I capture this car and another car coming up. They went okay. I like that the car is white. That worked really well with the snow. Again, with the edits, I brought the red out, and I think that creates a nice contrast. I like these two images that I got. I wish the white car was more in the centre, but the one that was in the centre wasn't in focus, so I still like them. You know, I had to do it, a nice snowy panning shot. So I'm walking down the path and I see this couple off in the distance, so I lower the camera and prepare to shoot from the hip. This is something I'm starting to do a lot more since owning this camera because it's just so easy to do. Just rely on the autofocus to capture what you want and they'll never know. So out of that sequence I got this photo. Looking back at the edit I would have made it a bit warmer, but I quite like her red hair in that. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm walking up here and I know that this Saks building is on the right. So I position myself in front of this lamp post, put that in the foreground for a little bit of depth, and fire off some shots. Here's the classic chrome film simulation as I was shooting JPEG and Fine, and there's my edit. I actually really like the classic chrome simulation on that. So I shoot some horizontal shots here using that pole, and I actually used a radial filter to accentuate the glow from that Route 66 sign. It's very subtle, but it works for me. It was very pleasing to do. I'm going to film a POV in this future soon using just the classic film simulations in camera, so if that's something you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments below. So I see this woman approaching the shops and there's this orange light beaming from the store. I wish I was a bit closer so I could have shown you that a bit more. I captured it okay, but yeah, again, I wish I was a bit closer. I see this neon sign on the right and I just decide to capture a couple shots of that. You'll see that my shutter speed is 1/250, which I don't think it needed to be. It could have been a lot lower, meaning I could have lowered that ISO as well. But when I'm shooting street photography and people in general, I like to have that shutter speed around there so I can freeze any movement that may occur. And to be honest, I think I was just focusing a lot on not falling over. So I was just capturing things as I saw it and not really changing the settings too much. I capture this nice snowy scene over the river, use some snow as foreground again, and yeah, I like it. Again, shutter speed didn't need to be that high. I just capture another one here, just a bit of a portrait one, use that snow as foreground. Boom, done. Nice tones. And I see this light coming from the distance, this orange glow that's reflecting onto the river, so I just capture that. You can kind of see it. Would have been better if I was closer, but I still think it looks nice. So as I'm walking, I see this guy on the pavement below, and I try and use the wall to frame him. It didn't work. I'll put it up so you can see what I'm talking about. I wish I had got that shot because when I went back to check if he was still there, he was gone. So a missed opportunity there. I think that could have been a really cool photo. So as I'm walking, I see this woman approaching. She's wearing a mask, which looks pretty cool. So I use the wall on the right to try and get some leading lines and fire off a few shots to capture walking in the snow. Quite like the movement that I capture there. She's kind of moving her arms, trying to balance, and again the mask timestamps the photo, which I like a lot. So I turn the corner onto this bridge here, and I see this lamppost just there amongst the snow, and it just reminds me of a scene straight out of Narnia. So I go to the wall and I line up a couple shots. I really like how the glow was just reflecting onto the river and the floor and the snow. Looking back, I would have kind of center framed it rather than getting that pub to the right. Usually that pub would look a lot nicer, but unfortunately it's all boarded up now, which is a big shame. So then walking down the bridge, I see the cathedral off in the distance, and it's kind of covered by this snowy haze, which I think is really beautiful. So I get into portrait and I take a couple shots. Just a really nice snowy scene, I think. There's this nice orange light coming from a car in the very distance, and yeah, I liked it. It was pleasing. So I lean over the bridge and take a photo of the River Wensum, just getting again those lights reflecting onto the water. As I'm taking these shots, I see this orange glare coming from another light to the right, which you can see there, and I kind of really like it. I know a lot of people hate glare, but in this instance, look at it, it's just illuminating all the snowy particles, and I just think it looks really, really nice. So I'm quickly losing light as time goes on, and the snow is getting heavier. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can see the snow a lot more now. So I'm walking down this alley and I see this couple at the end of it, and I decide to shoot this photo, and I really love this photo. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but the way the lamp's reflecting onto the wall, they're off in the distance, the leading lines going up to them. I don't even care that they're not in the centre. I kind of feel like that adds kind of a nice composition to the image. So I see these bars on my right, and I know that the cathedral is there, so I saw it as an opportunity to try and get some abstract framing going on. Is it abstract? I don't know, it's just shooting through bars, but I think they worked quite well. Again, the cathedral was covered by this haze and it just looked really nice. I just get one in horizontal there as well, so you can capture more of the snowy scene. All of that snow was just completely untouched. It was so tempting. I just wanted to leap over that gate and just roll around in the snow, but you know, I didn't, because I'm not insane. So I take another shot down here of the cathedral, but this time framed by some trees, and you've got those nice little red bushes at the bottom just to add a bit of colour. Really high ISO again now, it's 2000. Could have lowered that shutter speed, but I'm not mad about it. I still think that these photos are quite nice. So I'm walking down to Paul's Ferry, which I know is just going to be this crazy beautiful snow scene, because it's beautiful without snow. So as you can see in a minute, it just looks really lovely. Well, you'll see from my photo, the camera's blocking it at the moment. There you go. It looks really good. I love that building. So I kind of see this couple walking through there, so I wait to frame them in the arch. And that shot in particular, where you can see a bit more of the turret in the sky, I think is really nice. I decided to get a bit of a lower vantage point here, so I use the articulating screen just to capture a different angle. So at this point it's getting quite dark. I decide to switch over to my other camera, which I brought with me, which is the Canon EOS R. So the rest of the video will be taking photos with that. I don't use it for long because it does get really, really dark, as you'll see in a minute. But I'm using the 24-105 lens on that. Looking back, I would have brought another one because it got so dark and I only had an aperture of f4 to play with, which means that I introduced a lot of grain into the photos, but what can you do? Walking through Paul's Ferry again here, I see these reflections on the water, so I decide to shoot at 24 and get some of those. Look at that, I really love the blues coming from the water at the bottom. Zoom in a bit more to 50 and take some photos of this car, try and centre that in the middle, which you'll see here. If you could see the photo's bigger, you would see that there's a lot of noise, because look at the ISO that I'm shooting at, it's insane. But I'm not mad about it. It was very snowy, very dark, and I just like the photos, so I put them on here. So I go back to take some photos of the cathedral, but this time I have the 105 focal distance, so I zoom right into that, take a photo there, but it's not really interesting enough, so I kind of walk towards these branches there to see if I can use them to frame the photo. Which I think, yeah, it just adds something, doesn't it? And you can see here I've added some snow overlay to the photo, just because it was snowing, but you couldn't really see it as well. So I just kind of went onto Google, got an image overlay, went into Photoshop and added that over. But yeah, that's the video. Didn't really use that camera for long. As you can see, it got very dark and I was very cold, just wanted to go home. But thank you again for watching and for all the new subscribers. I appreciate it so much. I know I've said that like 100 times, but it's true. And if you enjoyed this video and haven't yet subscribed, make sure to go down below and do that if you would like to. But yeah, thank you so much again, and I'll see you again in a future video. Bye!